All right, gonna go in a little bit blinder on this one. We've got remove duplicates from sorted array. Given an integer array nums sorted in non-decreasing order, remove the duplicates in place such that each unique element appears only once. The relative order of the elements should be kept the same. Then return the number of unique elements in nums. Consider the number of unique elements in nums to be k. To get accepted, you need to do the following things. Change the array nums such that the first k elements of nums contain the unique elements in the order they were present in nums initially. The remaining elements of nums are not important, as well as the size of nums. Return k. Alright, so this one has a custom judge because it's not judging it based on the return value, but rather the in-place array. That does not make a difference to us. But yeah. So, this one I'm going a little bit blinder on. I have less of an idea. Just kind of looked and started recording. But yeah, my first thought, the magic of this being a sorted array is that instead of having to do a pass-through for every single value for the entire array, we can just worry about the values close to each value. Meaning that you don't really need to keep checking every element beyond the first non-match of an element. So like if we have 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, we check the 1, and then we see that the 1 is next to a 2, so we're done with the 1. We don't need to worry about that. Then we check the 2, we see that the 2, the next value is a 2, so we can get rid of that. But then we see the next value is a 3, so we don't need to check the rest to see if it's a 2. And so on. And then for k, we would just return the length of the list because that's, k seems like it just wants a return value because by the end of it, it would be the size of k would be nums, would be the length of nums. All right. So here's what we're gonna do. We're going to let's actually check the conditions. Okay, so we know that nums is gonna be at least 1, so you don't have to do any edge cases there. And nums is gonna be between negative 100 and 100. Doesn't really make a difference to us. We're going to, well, what I'm thinking we do is do an index-based for loop. And then as we delete items from it, the indexes will naturally be updated. So we could have like 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4. And so we have 4i, and 4i starts right here, and that checks if the next value is the same as the current value. And if it is, then we delete that. And then thankfully they'll just shift the array, so we don't even have to update anything. So we could do kind of maybe like a while loop inside a for loop, where the for loop determines the outer value and the while loop says, okay, and while the next value is a match, remove it. That makes sense. And then since the for loop will be index dependent, it would be constantly updating as the array shrinks. So we don't have to worry about going out of bounds or anything. Makes sense to me. So we're going to do 4i in range nums length nums. And we actually want to do -1 because I'm thinking about it, and by this logic, if you were to ever get to the last number, you don't have to worry about it being being a repeat because it would have already been deleted. Because it can't have any, it would have been deleted or there's no values left for it to match. Makes sense to me. Okay, now we can say while, we're going to say while, oh, we can just use the while condition to see if the next value is right. Well, yeah, is a duplicate. So we're going to say while nums I equals nums I plus 1. Delete nums I plus 1. Huh. Okay, so I feel like there's definitely some extra considerations we have to make, but we can just, I think we can also just run it from there and then see what happens. Okay, I thought that might happen. How will we say while I while nums I equals nums I plus 1. Okay, so I'm wondering why that would go out of range. We'll just walk through it. So we start with I being 0. And then we say while nums equals nums plus 1, nums I plus 1. Oh, I wonder if, do I have a total misunderstanding about how deletion of array items works? I think I might. Oh, that should work. I feel like it's something else. I feel like I'm being silly right now. But you know what? I should probably have a silly one. Okay, so is it running one too many times? Yes, it is. That makes sense. So I think that the problem was that this might be a static value. So even though it shouldn't run for the last item in the list, it's going to anyway. Because the length of it was initially established and then that's held on to. So it doesn't update. So what we could do is just either add a condition to break the loop, or we could turn this into a while loop. I'm just going to leave it as it is and just add a quick condition. I'm going to say if I is equal to length of nums minus 1 break. So it's essentially a for loop. Sorry, essentially a while loop I meant. Let's try that. Huh. Okay. Is it updating the length of the list? The length of nums? Oh, no, it would be minus 2 because it's 0 indexed and it's the length, and we're checking not just the last one but the one before it. That makes sense. And I always get the properties for these confused. Definitely a messier solution today, kind of embarrassing for an easy problem, but you know, still fun. And that should work. Awesome. Okay, so it took me a second to get there. Just a couple of tricky numbers to consider. I usually like to get those right on the first try. Oh, list index out of range. Okay, so I think we just had to add a condition here. In the while loop as well. This is getting to be pretty messy. Oh wow, that's ugly. That's really bad. um, work if I get rid of that. Huh. Okay. I'm actually surprised that that's so bad. I mean, I know it's only like milliseconds of difference, but is it because I use delete? Is it because I check one more condition? I mean, I use a while loop, so it would be pretty bad. I'll check one of the solutions. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. Eh, I don't really want to think about this one that much more. Um, I'm confused about why it's so much slower, to be honest. Maybe delete just takes a while. Oh, actually, yeah, that makes sense. I get it. Yeah. So the reason why this one takes a while is because every time I delete one, it has to shift all of the values in the array over. And I think that takes an awful while. It works. I'm gonna call it a day on this one. um, yeah, so it makes sense. It makes sense how I can make it faster, but this works. It's just definitely slow. But It's an easy problem. It would be easy to make it faster. It's just right now I am done. All right. See you later.